The Japanese Grand Prix at the weekend was not exactly a classic. That is a masterpiece of understatement, actually. It was downright terrible. It was an absolute snooze fest. But one of the most exciting things that happened during that race was the battle between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen in the pit lane. Now, opinion was very much divided on who should have got a penalty for this, if anybody should have done. Neither did, of course, but some were saying that Norris should have got a penalty for being unsafely released into the path of Max Verstappen, while others were saying that Verstappen should have got a penalty for forcing Norris off the track on the pit lane exit. In the end, I think sanity prevailed and we didn't see any penalty for either of the two drivers. But the former race director of Formula 1 said that Norris should have had a penalty during that race, but not to do with the pit lane. Let's have a look at what he said here. Niels Wittich has been speaking in the media after the Japanese Grand Prix and said that if he was still in charge of Formula 1's race director role, then he would have given Norris a penalty. But why? Let's find out. Lando Norris has reason to be relieved. Niels Wittich is not still a race director in Formula 1. At the end of the Japanese Grand Prix, while running second behind Max Verstappen and in front of McLaren teammate Oscar Piastri, Norris skipped the famous Suzuka chicane, aka the Alain Prost Senna chicane. He maintained position and was not penalised. You can see that he's still nervous in the car, former F1 driver Ralf Schumacher said. And according to Wittich, Norris should have been given a penalty for this. Well, I have to be honest, said the German, who was suddenly ousted as race director late last season, told Sky Deutschland. Apparently via text. He was sacked by text. Didn't join Sky Deutschland by text. Although he could have done. I suppose he could have texted Ralf Schumacher. From my point of view, Lando should have let himself fall back behind Piastri. I'm a bit surprised that nothing happened, he added. The standard for something like that would be a 10-second penalty. It has also been hotly debated whether, laps earlier, McLaren should have allowed the slightly quicker Piastri to move past Norris and have a go at attacking Verstappen. McLaren's pit strategy was also criticised. I think they were really too conservative, former Red Bull driver Robert Dornbos told Ziggo Sport. They didn't even try to win. I think that is how I'd sum it up as well, to be honest. They didn't even try. It was a bit sad, really, to be honest. And there's some conspiracy theories going on about all this, but I'll touch on that right at the end. It seems like they are only concerned with defending the constructor title. That is their right, but it's not really good for the sport. Dornbos thinks that Piastri's manager Mark Webber should also be furious that McLaren favoured a safe race result rather than allowing Piastri to charge for the win. I immediately sent Mark a message, said the Dutchman. I told him that I don't expect he will accept that at all. There was actually an image that I saw, a photo that I saw, and its authenticity is dubious, I would say. I don't know if it's real or not, but I did see a photo shared after the Japanese Grand Prix of Mark Webber having a word with Zak Brown. Rather, not aggressively, firmly, I would say. Now, whether that was taken after the Japanese Grand Prix or not, I don't know. I'll be honest, I'm a bit skeptical about it because it looked like it was in bright beaming sunshine, and on Sunday in Japan it was really gloomy and grey. Kind of like it normally is here in the UK, although the weather this last couple of weeks has been absolutely glorious. It's been wonderful. But yeah, I mean, there's conspiracy theories going on around about that race. There's some people, and I don't believe this personally, but there are some people out there that are saying, oh, well, McLaren, they gave Red Bull the win. They gave Honda the win in their final Japanese Grand Prix of Red Bull and Honda being partners. I don't buy it personally. I don't see McLaren doing it. I don't think McLaren and Honda are really on good terms, to be honest. Historically a lot of success, but God, the mid-2010s onwards when they were partners, no, they don't like each other. I'd be shocked if they do. I think it's funny how they're going to Aston Martin and, Fernando Alonso is going to be one of the drivers, lest we forget GP2 engine, GP2. God, so I don't buy it personally, but there are some people out there saying that it was a conspiracy, that McLaren let them win the race. I don't think so. I think they were just a bit... But, I mean, if they were going to let them win the race, that is probably how they would have done it, to be fair. A 2-3, so they don't win, but they get the next best thing. They choose really safe pit strategies to let Verstappen have the lead. I get why people are thinking that, but think about it for more than 30 seconds and it starts to unravel quite fast. I mean, for me, I must be honest. I mean, I was half awake, half asleep watching that race, and I can't be bothered watching it back. It was so bad. I don't remember that incident between Piastri and Norris. I really don't. But given that it was McLaren on McLaren, what normally happens in these incidents is when someone overtakes illegally off the track, or they keep their position illegally by going off the track, they're normally offered the opportunity, or normally the team gets on the radio like, look, you're being investigated, you need to slow down, let him back through, you're going to get a penalty otherwise. That was what would normally happen. So you have to think, in this situation, with it being McLaren on McLaren, even if you follow the letter of the law, which I understand you probably should do in this kind of case, you've got Norris who would just drop back behind Piastri, and then they might team order him ahead again in theory. I mean, they might not do that. They might keep it as it was, Piastri and then Norris, 2-3 in that order. Maybe that's what they would have done. But in theory, McLaren could have done that. So, when it's teammate on teammate, they normally don't give a penalty for stuff like that. I remember the Alpha Tauris crashed years ago at Silverstone. They didn't give a penalty for it because it was just like, well, you've both been hurt by that. You're not hurt another team. That's just an inter-team thing. So I think that's probably why they would have got away with it in that case. But I can't remember the actual incident off the top of my head. But interesting how he said he would have got a penalty. When I read that headline, I did think, oh, is this because of the pit lane thing? But no, it wasn't. It was because of something else. So interesting take. What do you guys think? Do you think that McLaren should have got a penalty for that? Should Norris have got a penalty for it? Should he let Oscar Piastri go through? I mean, for the team strategy thing, I definitely would have let Piastri go through. He was clearly faster than Lando Norris. Let him have a go. The worst that's going to happen is you have to swap him back at the end, and we all know they're going to do that because they get on, they get on as teammates. So your thoughts in the comments below, guys. For much more news and opinion pieces on the world of Formula 1, keep it tuned here to the channel, guys. Have a fantastic day, and let's hope for a great Bahrain Grand Prix this weekend. See you very soon for content just like this.